I felt it was appropriate to have some coffee for this video. Today we're going to be talking about Dunkin. In 2018, Dunkin, the national coffee brand, made a really bold branding move by removing the term donuts from its name, Dunkin Donuts, now just going by Dunkin. On the surface level, this seems like a really insignificant tweak, but in reality, it was a really calculated rebranding strategy meant to subtly change what customers associated the brand with. In this video, we'll be exploring what led to the name change and why it's so significant. Dunkin is a business that's a staple of America. It's been around for 70 years. And over the years, Dunkin' Donuts has rebranded a few different times. And the answer to why they rebranded to Dunkin' lies partly in its fierce competition with their main rival, Starbucks. In the late 2010s, compared to its thriving rival Starbucks, Dunkin' was losing market share, losing customers, and burning through cash very quickly. And this was partly due to the evolving tastes of customers across the US when it came to how they drank their coffee. Over the years, Starbucks has become synonymous with sugary, indulgent drinks, which can cost almost as much as a meal. The products that Starbucks sells are not really traditional coffee anymore. It's not like you just go to Starbucks and get a black coffee, unless you're a crazy person. What Starbucks started to sell in the 2010s and the trends we started seeing the coffee industry go towards was more so adult milkshakes rather than what we traditionally call coffee. This signaled a really big change in consumer demands. Dunkin' has traditionally been known for their no-frills, straightforward coffee and donuts image, and they had to rethink how they were going to compete in the evolving beverage consumption landscape without alienating their core fans. Back in ancient times, the 90s, Starbucks entered the coffee scene. Their initial focus was to be a European-style coffee house, serving stuff like specialty espresso drinks and normal black coffee. But around the 2010s, a shift in consumer behavior saw Starbucks make some changes to their core business. Branding started to focus on indulgence, lifestyle drinks, and treat-yourself culture, appealing to young, hip, trendy, and aspirational consumers. Their core offering started to shift away from espresso-style beverages to large, customizable drinks with intense flavors. Starbucks adapted fast to this shift in trends, and they rode the wave, seeing a lot of success. They pioneered drinks like large, sugary lattes, mochas, and frappuccinos that included add-ons like syrups and whipped cream, making Starbucks a symbol of premium, over-the-top, some might say decadent drinks. So what was Dunkin' Donuts doing during that same era? Dunkin', being traditionally less trend-driven, has always had a loyal and practical customer base. Their core offerings have always been rooted in straightforward donuts and coffee, a lot less trendy, a lot less flashy, and just more to the point. Some might even say grounded, pun intended. It had more of a working class image, think office worker or blue collar plumber, both who enjoy the same black coffee or straightforward drink in the morning. If you recall, their branding for a long time was even America runs on Dunkin'. But the shift in consumer behavior was undeniable. Starbucks was starting to eat up market share, and Dunkin' was feeling it and falling behind. And it was the second biggest coffee retailer until getting surpassed by McDonald's McCafe. Kind of embarrassing when your core drink is coffee beverages, and McDonald's of all franchises sells more coffee than you. The reality of the changing market meant that Dunkin' had to acknowledge it and adapt or die off. Dropping the donuts symbolized a pivot away from the old image and an embrace of the broader beverage market. Now you can get your pink rainbow unicorn, 1,000 calorie, 150 grams of sugar, $9 drink at Dunkin' as well. But in all seriousness, the rebrand, despite being slight, has marked an identity shift for Dunkin'. And it wasn't just a rebrand, but they backed it up with certain actions. They adopted a mobile app infrastructure very similar to Starbucks, which now accounts for nearly 40% of their orders. And they started investing in new drink innovations that are trendier and have broader appeal. Think cold brew and oat milk lattes, tapping into the growing demand for smooth and less acidic iced coffee drinks. And they rolled out seasonal and flavored coffee drinks. Think caramel, mocha, vanilla, almond, hazelnut, all these types of flavored drinks. They also introduced new and healthy alternatives for health-conscious customers, such as almond milk, oat milk, and reduced sugar options. I doubt Bob from the electrical company is going to be ordering his oat milk latte anytime soon, but the shift is a fine line that Dunkin' has to walk, appealing to a broader audience while maintaining their core base. To most of us, the brand shift doesn't hold that much significance, but the brand marketers really knew what they were doing here. It was a successful shift, and we have data to back it up. After dropping donuts in 2019, Dunkin' saw a rise in US coffee sales of around 5 to 7%, outpacing a ton of its competitors during the same period. By 2021, Dunkin' was back above McDonald's as the second biggest coffee retailer in the United States. And the numbers show that they successfully tapped into the younger, trendy generation. Reports from the mid-2010s show that Dunkin' was more associated with the older, less trend-driven consumer, typically people above the age of 40. Whereas the younger millennials and the Gen Z tended to favor Starbucks and the specialty coffee brands. And in 2020, they shifted to over 50% of their customer base being people under the age of 40, the key demographic that they were targeting with this shift. Dunkin's recent growth highlights a strong lesson in branding, and it's a really interesting peek behind the curtains of the small details that paint the big picture of a business. Brand evolution over time is essential to survive, and it shows that companies have to be willing to disrupt their legacy and adapt in order to change to an ever-adapting market. And Dunkin' did it successfully and keeping true to their original customers that made them who they are. As a lifelong Dunkin' fan, this was a fun video to research and to look into. Thank you for watching Heavy Signal. My name is Nick. If you're interested in more business videos like this, definitely consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.